G'day everyone, Alex Kelly here again for another instalment of Top Split Racing replays. We're following our season tilt for 2022 season 3 in the Skippies, of course. Round 4 Long Beach. What a week, honestly. Wasn't actually going to race this week, used it as drop week. Had some stuff on, doing some things and didn't have time to put in. I ended up doing 4 races yesterday on the Sunday, including this one. This was the warm-up race to SNL. And after throwing away P2 in a 4200 strength of field the race before, I come into this one, bit of a downer. And then as we go through the grid, great Christian Perez and his teammate Adrian Rodriguez there on the front row, Budgeon Philippides, who I'd spent the race before racing with on the second row. Benji, great Iberian driver, and Benji's good fella, good to race with. Jeff Randall, I haven't raced before, but he seemed to have a good pace around here. Head clown himself, Asco in 8th, Russell Clark the 3rd, streamer extraordinaire for Team Milo, P8, Ruben Diaz, Alex Hurte, Ryan Chenoweth, Neil Gardner, Captain 499. You're thinking, where's Alex? Where's he hiding out? We keep going. Mark Lay, and then there's yours truly on the end of it all. I had managed to get myself DQ'd in quali. So after binning, a certain P2 and perhaps P1 in the race before in a 4200, it comes around to the 4500. And that's where we're starting from. So a different kind of race, I guess, this week. We're going to see what we can do from the back in a really high-quality field. And see what we can do. So let's just grab the usual stuff and let's see how we go. All right, we'll get on with it. Oh, I think if I press the right button, there we go. So we're away and we're already on the run down to turn 1, trying to pick. You can see the movement left and right as people trying to position themselves. I went to go left and then Mark in front of me covered that off, and then he's come back, and I thought I really wanted to be on the outside here, the inside, but I'll go around the outside. You can see the late braking McKellar skirting danger with the walls, gets past 2, and then it really checked up. Really important to manage the check-up through that first lap through the fountain there. And, we survived. So, job done, I guess. And we picked up... Sorry, accidentally muted myself there. We picked up 2 positions on the way through. So, it could have been worse starts. Now, the problem with starting at the back... and I should point out, Vasco, you can see down the bottom of the timing tree there, he unfortunately, iRacing dropped out on him or something. He had a technical issue, couldn't make the grid, so I was pretty bummed for Vasco, but these things happen. Think of it as a mechanical failure of some description. And I should mention too, Budgeon in P3, he got a false start, a jump start, so he's going to pit at some point soon. But at this stage, I see tyre smoke there at the hairpin. You start getting worried, but again, we managed to survive lap 1, which is great. But what I was going to say is when you're sort of mid-pack and further back like we were here, you're really racing in a different race. Like, this is a recovery drive from the get-go. No doubt about it. And that's what we were trying to do. Like, there's no way we were in for a podium or anything. And I really messed that up. And I had to let Neil go through as much as I didn't want to. And they're 2x2 in front, which helps us. But you can see we're dropping time. We're already 7.5 seconds off the lead. And it's this time you don't get back. And I'm trying to control my frustration at being, in a position I put myself in. And it really checks up there, and I'm just struggling to keep my head in it at this point. Mark's wanting to have a look, and I know that I'm a little offline here, half defensive through here, so Mark will get the run on me, an exit of 8 as well. So I'll go to defend early and leave the outside into 9 for Mark, and he backs out, but I compromise. And all this is for, yeah, look, P12. Which in SNL might be fine because there's points for P12 in the overall standings, bit of the context of thing. Yeah, as we see Budgeon's just gone into the pits to serve that penalty. And there's a freebie for us. So we're now 3 positions up. We've made 1 overtake, and Mark's just sitting quietly behind, and we've got eyes on the prize. But like I said, we're really in a different race, and it's all about recovery, getting as much as we can out of this. So to do that, of course, we've got to stay on track. We've got to survive, play smart, which at sometimes will cost us some lap time and race time, flag to flag. But at the end of the day, you've got to do what you've got to do to survive. And then here's a big one. Of course, that curb there, very, very dangerous, and unfortunately catching out Neil there. And again, costing us more time. Russell up ahead of us. He's got pretty good pace here, actually. Needs to put it together. Like me, he's had some moments with that wall there. Well, I don't know if that's the wall he had a moment with. That's the one I had with. In that, like I said, sitting behind Kevin, Budgeon, and a nice P2, just waiting for the last lap. Maybe have a look, maybe not. I would have been happy with P2 and a couple of 100 points in a 4200 SoF. And I just, on my own, put it into that wall. Oh my goodness, it was tragic. And then of course DQ'd myself in quali the race after. That's a terrible exit. I'm about to get swallowed alive here, I think. Ryan Chenoweth behind us. I haven't raced a lot with Ryan, so I don't know what to expect. And all importantly, I'm nearly 2.5 seconds behind Russell and Alex Hurty. Now I make clear that I want to defend this. I don't really want to lose time, but like any race driver, I'm confident in my pace to lead this pack. Inside of turn 1, you're always going to spray out. Only get to second gear there because of the compromised run through turn 1. And we're away, and again we lost another 0.2 there to Russell. So yeah, less than ideal. But hey, that's the way it goes. So already I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if I got 2.5 seconds pace difference to Russell, and plus I've still got guys behind me that I'm trying to gap. That's a really interesting thing you got to consider when I talk about going flag to flag in a race. This is what I mean. Flag to flag, the fastest really means in a race like this, you know, what am I now? I'm 11 seconds off the lead, nearly 12 seconds. I'm never going to get that back. It doesn't matter how fast I go from this point. All that stuffing around at the start of the race means I'm not in the race for the win. I'm in the race for survival and for minimising the damage. But similarly, the paces in here are so equivalent. Like I'm car number 4 in a 14 car field, but the slowest guy here is still pretty quick, right? You know, that might be me for all I know. I haven't done a lot of laps here, but to make up the difference between myself and even Russell, just 2.5 seconds up the road, that can take you 10 laps of a 15 lap race because the margins are so tight. So flag to flag, the fastest means as minimising the stuffing around with fighting for positions, you know, and maximising the lap time each and every time. But starting in the position like we did in last kind of changes the mindset a bit too, doesn't it? Because you know, you're going to have to do a bit of that to move forward, and at the start of the race is probably the best time to do it, because, you know, realistically that's when everyone's the closest, and you can see all that those bits and pieces of stuffing around have cost us so much time. And we're already running in clean air this time round. I lost a second to the leaders all on my own, so without their draft I'm just not in it, let alone being, you know, 10 spots further back down the road. Now we're keeping off Ryan and Mark in the background, and we're really trying to find something to bridge the gap. You see, we're not really making an indent because Russell's caught Alex Hurtay's draft, and that's pulling him up. So at this time in the race, I remember thinking, all right, forget Russell. The gap's growing because he's got draft. As I move to defend from Ryan once again, the delta you got to watch, and Ryan pulls back and tells me to take the line, which I was greatly appreciative of, because that increases our chance of going faster. The delta that I am actually watching now that Russell's got the draft is the guy in P7, Alex Hurtay, because Russell's time's going to be better because he's got the draft. That delta's going to shift in not unnatural ways is the word I'm looking for, I guess. And then Hurtay picks up a slowdown, which really helps. But my point being that you want to watch the delta to the car in front, because that's the one in clean air that you're trying to match and catch. Having said that, when he gets a slowdown and brings me right back into it, thank you very much for that. And importantly, at the same time, now that I'm chasing the draft of Hurtay, I notice that I've almost cleared the draft of Chenoweth and Lay, which is important as well, because the less distractions I have behind, the more I can focus eyes forward. Because at the end of the day, it's all about damage limitation. Now we're up, what are we up, 5 spots so far. A couple of those through misadventures of folks having to go through the pits or not making the start in the case of Vasco, and 3 spots we've gained on track. We're looking to gain, well, here's the thing, what are we, 6 seconds off P6? That's really out of the picture, as we were saying, because of the differences in times or the margins being so small. So realistically, at this point in the race, 7 laps in, nearly halfway, or 6 laps in, going for lap 7 now, I'm really aiming for P7. That's my goal. I'm car 4, P7, minimise the damage. It's about the best we can hope for. So now it's head down, bum up, build the gap behind us and close the gap in front of us. Starting to take a few more risks with that apex, that right-hander there, which is so crucially important. Turn 5, I think it is from memory, or it's turn 6, now through 7 and 8. Yeah, that turn 6 apex, so important. It's so risky. I feel like I'm rolling the dice every time I cut that curb. You don't know if you're going to fly off into the wall half the time. As we come down the straight, we seem to be getting a little bit, gaining a little bit, I should say. But you can see the margins are so tight, so my last lap was a 32 dead versus a 33.6 for Hurtay. So we've made some, apparently, I beg your pardon, that was his slowdown lap. So we made 8 tenths, oh not even, half a second. 32.45 for Hurtay and myself at a 31.9. So we made about half a second, and you can see we're now in draft. That little number in the relatives box has popped into the yellow, which is good. And we're starting to catch him hand over fist. It's even better. Look, he was very wide on that apex at 5. Through 6 now. Didn't even bother the curbing there. I had to lift on exit, lest I punch the wall. That cost me a bit of time. I don't know if Hurtay's nervous after that slowdown. And you can see we're still 2.3 or thereabouts behind Russell. So this draft here from Hurtay will give us a bit of a kick along. Now to 2.5. Mind you, turn 8, not my favourite corner after the previous race, and one that I've struggled with in the laps that I've done here this week, limited as they might have been. Big cut there through 9. Second gear, a lot of time off throttle to rotate the car down into first. Try everything you can. I reckon that's got to be the slowest corner in iRacing, that final hairpin. And you see I haven't made any time off, even with draft. So we're starting the second half of the race, lap 9 now, and I'm still, my goal is on, my eyes is on, eyes are on, eyes is on, cheapers. eyes are on P7 and Russell in there. Sorry, Russell, you got a target on your back. But first, have to deal with Hurte. I seem to have the first sector down okay. It's after this corner here at 5 and then through 6 here that I really struggle. Actually, I think this is turn 5. I think there's actually 2 corners up next, 6 and 7. So pardon that misnumbering. I'm remembering now my prep for SNL. This is actually 6. And in the middle here, that kind of bend thing is turn 7. This is turn 8. I was counting backwards. That's how I got 6 before, because I know this is 8. So we got a bit, and I think what we did there is we capitalised on the time we gained through the fountain section and hung on to it better this time through the second sector. Now as we come down through here, look for a big cut, bit bounce out. Didn't quite nail that. I try to get the curbing through the centre of the car. It seems to disrupt it the least. And then deep through there, under brakes. Hurte got a good drive out, but I'm going to get some draft here. That'll bring me right into it. And you can see we've caught up about half a second on Russell, which is really encouraging. Russell's last lap was a 31.8 and we did a 31.4 with a bit of draft, which is very helpful. You can see, look at that, 3/10 nearly in the draft. Now I know I'm strong through here. I see my telemetry, Budgeon and Gardner have both crashed. They were behind me. So as Gardner goes into the pits, and Russell's slowing down as well. He's picked up a slowdown. That's game on, folks. Russell picking up the slowdown. I'm thinking, oh, and then just in the braking zone, he said over the radio, he said it's cleared, and I've just gone, oh, I want to get past him, I want to get in front, but he got a massive drive on me there. I didn't lift at all from memory. Oh, that Hurte, he's almost lost it through 8, and I've got the drive on Russell, so I thought, all right, let's see how we go here. I want to get past these guys. I don't want to muck around. See, I left it in 4 there. Go a bit deeper. Leave the room on the out on the inside. Jeepers, that was close. Russell backs out as I get on the first gear early. Hurte misses the apex, and we got that spot we were looking for. Russell's pretty punchy on his day. He loves a street circuit, so he's certainly not out of it yet. That's for sure. Now we're still chasing that purple car of Hurte in front. We've just put a green one behind us. Coming into the braking zone, into the first corner here. See, Hurte's just not on the apex there either. I had to lift. I didn't get to, no chance of troubling third gear, which I normally take through there. Yeah, he's not hitting those apexes. I don't know if, like me, he's a bit short of a run. I'm so gentle through there at 5. So gentle. I don't know. I feel like it's a lottery every time you go through there. Your number comes up or it doesn't. Better apex there from Hurte. They didn't get the rotation. Perhaps he opened up the wheel because he turned in too early, maybe. Oh, he really looked like he hit the wall there, but it's hard to tell. I think he must have, because I've got the real drive on him. I thought he was looking to defend, and then he opened up. And again, he's on the outside. He's given it up. And we got the move done at the end of the straight at that all-important turn 9. Looking to get a good drive out, and we did. And there you go, immediately. Half a second. Good times, because as we cross the line now to start lap 13, 4 laps to go, and we've at least achieved part of the goal. We got to P7. Now the question is, can we hang on to it? Because 2/10 we lost in draft there, but I was feeling confident through this section. Oh, and really fluting the danger on that wall. You can see we gained half a second through first sector, and I decided to get a little bit more aggressive with that curb because I figured after that gain there's a bit of an opportunity for me to maybe sneak away, but lost about a tenth. Almost got it back. Now important, turn 8. And that was a bit better early on the gas. Long draft section here, second longest straight, and we've maintained that 8 tenths behind. What I really need is Russell to move forward, or try to move forward, disrupt Herté's run. Oh, big jump on the curb there, didn't get the line right there. Idea was right, line wasn't. You see the times up front, 30.4, 30.6, Perez and Rodriguez. The Astro boys running away with it. They're 8, nearly 9 seconds clear up front. I did a couple of races with Benji earlier in the day in 3rd position here now, Benji Raig. And we drove away from some low soft fields in the 2 races we did. But look, he's been driven away from by Perez and Rodriguez. They really are, particularly Perez, the benchmark at the moment. I think Perez has got the consistency to go with the speed. And Rodriguez has got the amazing speed, much like Perez. Just has a few more mistakes in him. Both doing really well this season, of course, as you would expect. But you can see we're out of the race for 6th, and Herté is still hanging on behind us. Have not been able to drop him as much as I might have tried, and Russell's made a mistake at some point, and he's pretty much just hanging on by a thread at best to Herté behind me. And I'm starting to stretch my legs. Let's see what line we got here. Yeah, see, that's the line you want. Curb straight through the center of the car. You've already done your rotation pretty much. That really sets you up for a good run through here, although I missed the apex badly there, or at least the rotation on it. But we've got a decent drive out of the corner. You see up to 8 tenths again before the draft kicks in, because it will kick in. 5th gear is really where the draft does its work, and you can see he's starting to reel me in a bit now, about half a tenth to a tenth now. Brake just approaching the 300, early turning, grab a bit of the curb earlier on the gas as you can, up to 3rd gear, brake down 2 gears into 1st, cut back as early as you dare on that left-hander, kink, grab a fair chunk of curbing at 4, into 5 now, stay in 2nd. Oh, look at that, rode the curb beautifully, finally got one out of 14, ain't bad. And you can see that nice run through the first couple of sectors has opened up a 10th. Cut back in 2nd gear. Balance between, you don't want to go all the way out to the right, cover too much track. 1 gear, down to 2nd through 8. Try to get on the gas as early as you can. You see I found another half a tenth through the 2nd sector. We're into the 3rd. Bit of draft to keep him in touch. Down 3 gears into 2nd gear again. Try and grab beautiful. The car, least disruption through that curbing while cutting as much as you can. Down into 1st gear. Swing out and back through. Better angle there. Though Herté got a good drive out, so he's matched it. All that work gone in the hairpin. And you can see he's still 8 tenths behind. And he was only 100th behind me for lap time that time round. 31.4 versus a 31.39. He actually, oh no, it was 2 100ths. Oh, hang on, I'm getting confused. Anyway, it was 1 100th difference between us, and I think he had my number that lap. So, and he closed up through the first corner that time round. Did a bit better. He hung on to that difference he made up. Oh, then I really lost the rear, and that's going to bring him right back into it. Look at that. The number's gone from yellow to orange, and not the right colour, not the right direction for me. Now he's back in under 3 tenths and right back into it. And that's with 1.5 to go. So he's going to be a real threat down here because I did not nail that exit. I left the door open. I'm surprised. You can hear that sound in my voice, the surprise even now. What was I doing? And then I had to back out because I felt like he was going to put me into the wall. Yeah, and I don't think it's intentional. Oh, he's terrible setup for that. And then I followed him terribly. Anyway, probably lucky that I did. I probably would, if I got a decent run, that would have been all over. Would have been straight into the rear of him and lost any sort of momentum as the white flag comes out. And the last lap comes down to a battle toe-to-toe into turn one. I feel like he's got his number here. And that early, and he actually backed out and gave me the line. Look at that. I guess he must figure between turns 8 and 9 on the back straight. He's a show, because he certainly was in the last time round. Cut so close to that exit there at 3, now through 4. And Russell's right back into it behind us. I had to get brave. Not quite as bad as the last time round, but not great. And Hurte on my tail again. Now the all-important turn 8. You see I was a bit wider through 6 and 7 there. Set it up. Get on the gas early. Nice and early. That was a great run. And you can see the interval growing there, which is great because I felt safe. I wasn't going to come under attack. You can see it's only starting to come down a bit by half a tenth into the braking zone. Just nail turn 9. Not as cleanly as previously as the leaders go through, and Perez gets his victory. I was worried about the look here, but not enough. He wasn't close enough. And I know it's a short run to the line here, and 3/10 will be enough. Hurte wiggling behind in the mirrors. He said thanks for a good battle on the radio. And there you go. Last to P7. I guess that's the thing. And I just quickly had to dodge Russell so he doesn't hit me. He likes to hit me after races. Hello, Russell. Anyway, yeah, that was something. Let's check out the results. So we had Perez taking it out by 8/10 to Rodriguez. Well done, Christian. He's really the form driver of the series at the moment. Then Benji in P3. I wish I'd been up there. I love racing with Benji. Philippides, Diaz, Randall, and then P7. Look, started last, got to P7. Really couldn't ask for too much more, I should say, on the back of that. I think I lost about 25 I rating or something. We'll have a look in a minute. But you see, it says 13, but there's actually 14 cars in the field. Vasco didn't take the grid, of course, and missed out on bulk points and what have you. Speaking of points, we'll excuse me, we'll take a quick look at the results from there. So I lost 25 I rating, only 133 points. I was really dirty on the race before, sitting in P2. Even if I didn't even, challenge Kevin at the end, it would have been 215 points, I think, from memory. And I would have been cheering. I would have queued the rack the queue and be done with it. But yeah, a bit of a shame, but that's the way she goes. Now, this is the all-important thing. After 4 weeks, you can see Perez on top. Lucchetta, I don't remember racing too much this week at all. Actually, he's been a bit quiet the last couple of weeks, but he still sits in second, with Rodriguez now maintaining his spot in the top 3. And surprisingly, I'm sitting there in 4th still. So, look, the extra, I think I scored 153 in total out of the racing. I finished second to Benji in a 2.9k SoF. It was about 153 points. So we burnt about 60 points in the race where I put it in the wall from P2 and a 4.2k SoF. So we'd still be in P4, but I'll tell you what, we'd be a lot more comfortable in P4. So out of 4 rounds now, I think 2 of them have been drop rounds, which is less than ideal. But we've got 8 weeks to make that up. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, folks, that might do us. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Alex McKellar for Top Split Racing in our Season 3 tilt. Remember, our goal is twofold. It's hopefully a top 5 finish overall and crack 1,600 points for the first time. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're part of the way there and looking forward to the rest of it. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check us out. Of course, the Top Split on YouTube is where you'll find this and where you found this and where you'll find all the SNL replays, of course. And Top Split TV on Twitch is where you'll find us every Sunday night for the SNL broadcast. But thank you for joining us once again. And until next time, I will say ciao for now.